Hi there! Today I have finally gathered some courage to create my first ever scrapbook layout. As you have probably guessed, it was inspired by walking with my dog in the forest. For this project I'm not going to use any inks or paints or stencils, not even stamps. All I'm gonna do is to arrange some die cuts, plus I'm gonna use some washi tapes and embellishments. This technique is extremely forgiving, you can change everything at any moment, and it's not messy too. I'll be working on an A4 size sheet of heavy-duty cardstock, cream colored. To create binding, I'm going to use my planner punch with disc inserts. The preset I'm using is Mini Happy Planner, and I'm punching the top part of my page. When I have enough pages to create the album, I will use the discs to bind it, but for today I'm just going to concentrate on the layout. So this is the picture of my dog, 2 by 3 inches, and I have made it with the Sprocket mini printer. And by the way, here is the dog herself. It's a Dachshund. She's the color of toffee, just perfect for fall projects. The first thing I'm going to do is to get my picture framed, and I'll be using this die by Gummiapan. I have already made 3 die cuts out of dark brown cardstock, and now I'm also going to frame the picture, secure it with washi tape and run it through the die cutting machine. And of course I'll have all the tools and supplies listed on my blog and in the description. So now I'm flipping over the frame and the photo, and I'm securing it with pieces of washi tape at the wrong side. The picture is actually a bit smaller than my frame, but I'm going to fix it later. Then I'm going to use 2 more frame die cuts to create more layers to make the frame dimensional. The photograph is always a focal point in those layouts, so adding a bit more texture or dimension will draw even more attention to it. Another great thing to use for easy and forgiving layouts is washi tape. It is inexpensive too, and it has so many uses. I'll be using fall leaf washi tape to create my very own patterned cardstock. I'm just covering up the entire surface with tape, and then I'm going to do some die cutting. I'll be using this set of 3 trees, also by Gummiapan. I'm arranging the dies at an angle so that the stripes would go diagonally, just for more interest. I'm also going to keep all the negative pieces, because I'll be using them all on the project later on. I have used the dark brown cardstock for die cutting the trunks, and now I am assembling the trees by sticking down the trunks on top of the foliage. The next die I'm gonna use is Origami Dog, and it's not just any dog, it is a Dachshund. Again, I'm stacking 3 die cuts for more dimension, and then I'm going to attach it to a piece of vellum to create the vellum background. Then I'm going to cut out the image with a craft knife. Craft knife is very convenient for this type of images because it consists of straight lines. Another great thing about this image is that it creates the outline and not just a solid image. This way, although this dog is rather large, it's not going to distract attention from the main image, which is the photo. I have also die cut the sentiment out of the same brown cardstock, and now I can just play around and arrange all the elements until I'm happy with the result. You can see that I have also die cut some maple leaves, but it turned out that I didn't need them. So this is where I'm going to have my die cuts, and now I'm going to add some interest to the background by using the same washi tape that I used for the trees. I'm going to place some strips vertically behind the photograph and some strips horizontally at the bottom of my layout. This is also going to create the effect as if those leaves fell from those trees and are lying down on the ground. As I mentioned, washi tape is repositionable, so if I want to change the placement, I can easily do it. So 2 thumbs up for washi tapes. I'm going to use a couple of strips of washi tape to attach one of the trees right onto the frame, and it is also going to cover up this gap completely. Then I'm going to use double-sided tape to attach the rest of the trees. Although this tape is permanent, if you don't press down the trees too hard, you can still reposition them if you want to. The zinc photo paper I used is actually self-adhesive, but I'm not going to use this option. Instead, I'm using some double-sided tape to mount the picture onto the surface. And then I'm attaching the dog with the liquid glue. I have only placed it behind the outlines. Here you can see that I'm detaching washi tape a little bit and I'm tearing off the edges to create more organic look. This is how forgiving it is. Remember the negative die cuts that are leftovers from the trees? I'm going to use them to add even more interest to the background. This zigzag shape is actually very similar to distant tree outlines, and I'm going to use this effect to create a kind of landscape. Next, I'm going to place some sequins. I'm using Trick or Treat mixture by Cut Scrappiness. Sequins work in a similar way as die cuts. It means that you can place them on your layout and reposition them as much as you want to, and only when you are happy with their placement you can stick them down. So far I have only used orange and purple sequins. I'll keep black ones for later. After I have attached the sequins, I decided that some trees look too flat, so I'm going to use the mounting tape instead of the simple double-sided tape. So this is just another example of how you can change your mind and add more details to your layout without ruining it. This tree will go on top of the frame instead of behind it. And then I'm going to move on to the next element. I'm going to use those tiny negative die cuts that are left from the trees as space fillers to finish off my background. They are also going to create the effect of the fallen leaves because they are the same color and texture as the trees and as the ground. For attaching small pieces, I'm using Crystal KATANA pickup tool and some Ranger Multimedia Matte Adhesive in a needle applicator bottle. And now I have also decided to add those tiny leaves to the picture itself. This way it will blend better with the rest of the elements. At this point I have decided to fill in the space at the left side as well. I will use just a few zigzag shapes and just a few tiny leaf shapes. The final stage in creating the layout is adding more contrast. So now I'm attaching some black sequins along the vertical line where my picture is. Those sequins are from the same set. And finally I'm going to add some purple pattern paper that I have cut into strips. Again, I'm arranging the pieces of pattern paper on the layout, tucking some of them behind the photo, and so far I'm not attaching anything. I will only stick them down when I'm happy with the final result. There are some shades of purple in the picture, and those strips will help it to blend into the background more. Then I will also attach some strips horizontally. The one will go behind the dog. I will add some more randomly to the background, and that finishes my project for today. I really hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and if you are like me and you don't want to get a lot into mixed media but you want to create a layout at the same time, try to prepare some die cuts and your picture and just play around with them. Have a beautiful weekend, and I hope to see you again next week.